Morning, Foresters. This morning we switch from, well, not so much switch from, but we extend from forest hydrology and natural resources planning and conflict management and wicked problems from last week to start to kind of backstop those with some other forestry field skills and other forestry kind of content areas. So the rest of the class is broken out in the following ways. We have soils, a little bit of additional forest hydrology stuff, so water resources, wildlife habitat management in particular, since we have so many wildlife habitat management students taking rec camp this year. And we've also got vegetation, which is, of course, trees, but also things like subcanopy layers, underbrush, herbaceous, sort of forest floor layers, grassoids, graminoids and sedges, that sort of thing. And then we'll also talk about some additional human dimension aspects of forestry, and in particular forest rec management. But looking this time more at kind of the human resources of it. So things like, what are some of the cultural resources at parks and forests, like archaeological sites, like First Nations, Native American nations, providing cultural content, exposure to things like some of their religious and ritual practices, some of their traditional dress and ways of knowing, and that sort of thing. Some very cool stuff. All of that is totally underneath the forestry umbrella. So we're going to take what we've learned this past week with Drs. Williard and Schoonover and Akamani and kind of transplant that information, those insights that you guys now have, to a whole bunch of different case study parks, including a bunch of the ones that we were going to visit this year before COVID-19 struck. So that'll include places like Washington, D.C., and the White Mountains National Forest, Acadia National Park, a lovely, lovely place. But we're also going to extend that far beyond what we could have visited this year with a whole bunch of additional case studies like in Hawaii, places like in Colorado, Great Sand Dunes National Park and Preserve. I've got a bunch of stuff up at Denali National Park up in Alaska, waiting for you guys. So I'm excited about all these places. These are some spots that I just love introducing you to. They are incredible, and I hope that this kind of short video format for a lot of these places and some pictures and stuff like that, some virtual tours on Google Earth, do a lot to whet your appetite to make resolution to visit a lot of these places throughout your life. They are, by virtue of being national forests and national parks, unique on the face of the planet, and they are truly, truly worth the effort. We got some news, actually, that later this summer, if things lighten up with COVID-19, a lot of the national parks are actually starting to reopen now. It's kind of limited here and there, and it's on a per park basis based on what each park has the capacity to make safe for visitors with respect to sterilizing things and so forth. But close to home, we had Ozark National Scenic Riverways just today, I believe, or maybe end of last week, announced that it's going to reopen to boating and canoeing and kayaking and tubing and that stuff, provided that the concessioners, and if you're not sure what a concessioner is, we'll talk about that later, provided that the concessioners can actually provide those services safely to folks. So if they can rent you a canoe without giving you COVID-19, good to go. So everybody's still just trying to figure all this out. We do not have a Zoom meeting scheduled for tonight, Monday night. Today is May 18th. We're going to get started on that tomorrow, and we'll plan on meeting each weekday afternoon, starting tomorrow through the end of the class, June 5th. I didn't want to spring that on you today, since some of you I know are starting jobs and internships today. So good luck with those, and make sure to keep up with the work and the reading and so forth. There's not a lot of reading beyond today for my sections of the class, so weeks 2, 3, and 4. We'll have a lot more kind of video-based stuff and some field exercises. Your TA for this class, Leah, is busy recording a couple of dozen field skills videos for things like backpacking, cooking in the backcountry, how to use the restroom, and so forth. She'll she'll demonstrate those, but in a not weird way. Don't worry about that. It's not going to be weird. So it's going to be a pretty fun, hopefully, couple of weeks. Let this class be an excuse for you to get outside and practice some of this stuff. So part of today's assignment or set of assignments is learning a little bit more about knots. So if you're a rock climber, you probably already know some of the knots, or maybe most of the knots that we're going to go through this semester during summer camp. But if you are not a rock climber, then this is something that you want to get on top of. We'll tackle I'll introduce one or a couple of new knots each day for the next couple of days here. And then throughout the summer camp, we want to practice those one by one to the point that you can get them set and tied and untied without really having to think about it or muddle your way through. So these are totally just a muscle memory kind of exercise. Give a shot at each of those, and we'll have each student kind of record a short video tying an alpine butterfly or a bowline or a swiftwater bowline or a sheet bend, all the different knots we're going to do. And then you guys can upload those kind of throughout the course. So I'll prompt you as that assignment gets a little bit closer, but for now, just take a look at the videos for today. And the other half of today's work is to there's quite a bit of stuff here. Spend an hour or two moving through the federal career and hiring info that I've compiled for you. So over the years, we've interviewed a bunch of our successful forestry alums and graduates, and we have some more in the works. Hopefully I get those done for summer camp here. Some very successful SIU forestry alums have fanned out all over the globe, working for Bureau of Land Management, of course, U.S. Forest Service and Park Service, National Park Service, Fish and Wildlife, all over the world, literally, but also here at home. So we have some contacts with folks working at Crab Orchard National Wildlife Refuge and some folks working on the Shawnee out of our program. And that's pretty exciting for us because it's difficult to get a federal position, but especially difficult to get one with a federal organization that is kind of right in our backyards here. And I know a lot of you guys and gals are from Illinois and maybe want to stay close to home, at least to start out. So we'll have some info on that and how you can do that. It takes a little bit of organization and planning and follow through, but it's not impossible. And these people are living proof. They had to figure out all the same stuff you do. So take a look at the federal hiring info and the guides for today and the knots. And I'll see you tomorrow at our Zoom meeting at 4 p.m. Central Time. I've got the links posted on that, and I'll be posting the additional invite links, the same links, but in different places around D2L, so you can find it kind of wherever you go, on the calendar, in the announcements, in the communications section of the website, and so forth, so that we can meet together, even just briefly, each day, and talk through things. This is your chance to ask questions so you don't have to type them out in the discussion forum. As an alternate way to do that, I know that some of you really hate typing, and I'm not trying to pile additional work on you for the sake of it. This is truly about connecting and answering your questions, but also a chance for me to just kind of pose some questions here and there to you guys and gals to take the temperature of how things are going, to see how you are wrestling with stuff, where you're running aground on some things, having some trouble, or maybe just sailing through like you've already got the number for it, you're good to go, we need to spend less time on that and devote that to some other things. Okay, so those Zoom meetings are pretty important. I know we're all kind of having some Zoom fatigue, lots of meetings and stuff like that, but this will be a good time. They're scheduled from 4 to 6 each day, but I don't foresee them taking 2 hours every single day. It's really just going to be, let's all log in, we'll check in, let me see your face, and understand how you're doing. If you feel like you're kind of treading water or maybe falling behind, let me know. In those Zoom meetings, you can say, hey, Park, take about 5% off the top there, squirrel it in. This is just too much right now. Or, yeah, I finished this in 20 minutes. I'm taking this 6-credit class. Let's get some more in there. Let me know. Either way, that's perfectly fine. So we're all kind of figuring this out as we go this year. It's a little bit different. So hang in there. We believe in you. You're doing great so far. Lots of great discussions going on in the forums. And We have a couple of forum prompts for today as well. So we'll see you tomorrow in the Zoom meeting. But until then, enjoy. Take care.